Para 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 para. I'm fucking tubing, bro. I'm tubing. I'm streaming. Twitch.tv, baby. Twitch.tv. Let's go. Twitch.tv. What? Oh my god, bot is so slow. Took 20 seconds. 20 seconds. It took 20 seconds until it sent the message. Live stream. First live stream in like 2 months, 3 months. Because I was out on vacation, so no stream. Even if I wanted to, it would have been weird. Because my parents are there. I'm gonna tweet out the link on the Twitter. Alright. Who's ready for some FL Studio gameplay? FL Studio speedrun. World record. 20 minutes, 43 seconds. Glitchless, etc. Let me actually load up the my session, because I didn't actually prepare. I was like, I'm gonna stream the FL Studio project file, and then we'll see where it goes. It works. No way, no way, no way, no way. Alright, let's see. Let me know what the audio balancing is, because I can't tell, because I did not check the audio balancing before I started. Which is my L. Huge L. Sounds good. Does that mean it's like balanced? Can you still hear me? Is it too quiet? Is it too loud? Okay. That is a momentous PogChamp moment. Epic Flintstones 360 473 and a half days. Chain of Memories HD Remix 2.8. Okay, whoopsie. Yeah, okay, so should I wait more? I don't know if more people are gonna come. I'm not exactly like popular or like well known or anything, so like but yeah. Today I'm doing my best Ludwig impression. Boys! The plan is simple. We'll be going through the project, not necessarily the project file, because we'll be going through the stems. We're gonna be breaking down the production, going through the stems for Raspberry Sunrise, the new single, which you can stream, or you can get the link to if you type in exclamation mark release in chat, which is very funny because now I'm like a real streamer. And yeah, so we'll be just going through that. I'll let it play in the background for now. Wait, I need to put the link. Hi Meg. I see you in the chat. We're going through my music, which is cringe. What if I post this on all the servers that I'm in? When we like, I'm live going through music. Okay, got it. Bet. Boys! I can't like DMCA myself, so I can actually get away with like playing the entire song because it's my song, and I'm not copywriting my own stream. The plan is simple. Posted in one server. I'm gonna post it in 50 other servers. So this is not actually the original project file, because so the way I did it is I had a mixing project file where I did I rendered all of the stems from the actual production file, which has all that MIDI data and stuff like that. And then I put it onto my my PC that has like 20 times the CPU and the setup to actually be able to open the project file well. And then I did all the actual mixing and stuff here on my PC, where all the MIDI data and stuff is on my laptop. And so we'll be going through what's on my PC, because I can actually run that and stream, and I only stream through my PC. So it'll be fun, I think. Thank you, Hug Dispenser. I appreciate the words, the banger song words. Okay. Yeah, this part actually pretty good. This part is actually pretty good. Alright, Poggies. I think that'll be all for the setup. Once again, you can type exclamation mark release, and then you'll get the bot will send a link where you can get all the links to your favorite streaming platforms, and then you can stream the song, because it's an okay song. Okay. First things first, I wanted to kind of go down the what's it called? Go down the actual like the buses and the groups and stuff because I have it basically set up like this. These aren't actually buses because I mix like a fucking idiot, and I have everything in like an individual channel that routes to the master track instead of having buses because I can't be bothered to have buses. So uh bear with me with while I try and go through this. So basically I have a notebook here. We have like multiple groups here. We have, and I've laid out like in like semi color coordinated. So in total we have about like, I do not know, like 1 2 3 4 5 6 40 actual tracks on the project. The majority of the tracks are for the drums. So it's like all of these are like one part. They're like one group, and this is like in itself. This is like like 15 or something elements. And because so a bit of the background behind like the production of the song, it's like the idea was that I wanted to submit this to a compilation album, and the compilation album always like releases around the summertime. So like the idea was like I wanted to do like a very summer like vibes, tropical house with a bit of that VGM Sega Sound Team influence that I always have with my other tracks, and like turn that into a into an original song. So that's why we have a lot of huge like focus on like percussion elements and whatnot. Partly also because I am by trade, I am supposed to be a percussionist. I go to school because apparently, my college thinks that I'm good at playing drums, which I am not. And that is not a like that is not like me punching downwards. I generally don't think I'm good at drums, and that's okay. Like I can be bad at drums, and I can be proud of that fact because I'm not really I don't really consider myself a drummer, nor do I think that's like a necessary skill that I need to have in order to succeed. But also, unfortunately, that also means I have to put like 50,000 like drums in one house track because I'm a follower of the Sega Sound Team school of overproduction, which means basically have 20,000 like intertwining drum loops layered on top of each other, and like put like zero effort into actually mixing anything, which is very funny. So I guess the first thing I wanted to go through is this A section. So what we have right now, the main harmonic elements are the keyboard here. So basically, what this keyboard stack consists of is a it's two voices. Basically, I've layered a grand piano. I think it's the Native Instruments Grandeur. Let me actually put that in the notebook. So we have a rhythm section. I'll go through rhythm section. Keys. We have Native Instruments Grandeur layered with Native Instruments what's it called, Scarby. It's Scarby, but like NI like bought Scarby or whatever. I don't actually know what the relationship between those are, but it's the Scarby Mark 1 electric piano, which I can probably load up on Contact right now. Where's Contact? Contact. Oh my god, I don't have Contact. I have to open it through the contact collection. Yeah, the Scarby Mark 1. And then like basically what I did was I had it layered together so that you can kind of hear a bit of the sustain from the electric piano to get that kind of like soft mellow sound to it, but then the main tonal part of the keyboard is the actual grand piano. So we have this kind of like cool figure here using both of the timbres combined. And the actual figure is like kind of this like arpeggio thing. I was listening to some like music from what's I actually forgot the producer, but like they do a lot of like Japanese J-pop like house music, and it's like really cool. If I find out their name, I'll put it in chat or whatever. I did not plan this through very well. So then we have the we break it down. It's the keyboard as the primary harmonic element, and that kind of goes through everything here. In the B section, we have it gets a lot more rhythmic, so there's a lot of syncopation between this and the kick drum. Then going to the next section, we have the little ensemble kind of like hits or whatever it's called, the tutti, as you would say musically. So if you put everything together, it's like which is kind of like this. It's a really common thing in a lot of like Latin, kind of Brazilian, Brazilian inspired rhythms and stuff like that, because a lot of like Brazilian like carnival music is like really about having huge numbers of people all dancing, all playing percussion and whatnot, and it's all about having that really like strong rhythmic sense. And so the thing is like all of the whenever it gets to these ensemble sections, I made sure that basically every single element in the arrangement is also following along, so that you really have that emphasized ba 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 ba, and that really is a really cool like fill into the next section. I think the nylon is just doing like chords, or not even chords. It's doing like individual notes, which is funny. But yeah, the strongest part I think of the rhythm section is the bass line. I had a lot of fun writing the bass line because so a big thing about the about my rhythmic writing is that I love including like electric bass, as in like not live bass because I don't play bass, but like electric bass lines that feel like they could have been played by a real person, but in like an electronic music setting. Oh, where's the conga? Why is the conga playing? So yeah, we have the bass line here. In the first part, it's mostly just like longer notes, but then once the rest of the drums come in, it's more about like the syncopation, having that really strong groove to it. I really love writing rhythm section parts because I get to really like dive into the rhythmic synergy between the drums, the bass, the keys, and the other elements. And here, the bass goes hard. To kind of go with the keyboards here. Overall, like the arrangement is kind of really heavily inspired by like a lot of Latin house, samba, etc., etc. So you put the guitars in. Going through the guitars, basically I have two guitar parts. One of them is the nylon guitar, which is doing mostly like arpeggiations, like arpeggio figures, and the electric guitar, which is mostly doing like funky single note comping or doing chords and stuff like that. So the guitar plugins are I'm using Orange Tree nylon something. It's like the Orange Tree nylon guitar, and I'm using Shreddage 3 Stratus. It has to be Orange Tree. They do like extremely good guitar parts. Yeah, modern nylon. That's the one. Thank you. It is the modern nylon. Again, I don't have the original project file. This is the stem files, but like, yeah. Shoutouts to Greg from Orange Tree. So if you don't know Orange Tree samples, that entire sample manufacturer is like run by one dude. So it is automatically like the most the most proletarian sample manufacturer that you can think of. And basically, I'm pretty sure what happens is like Greg hires the engineers and the players, and basically like just puts everything together himself, which is like insane to think about. But yeah, basically the guitars are doing like different things for the left and the right ear, which is like a really cool, which helps get like a really dynamic arrangement and gives a lot of like ear candy on both sides of the stereo field. And then like you put the drums back, at least the first few drums. So that's the main thing about like the, if I were to give if I were to give the song like one driving element, it's probably the rhythm section between the drums and the actual instruments. So I really like doing this like dun 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 dun. It's like something I picked up this kind of line from like listening to listening to anime soundtracks mostly, because they like to put a lot of effort into like writing the really good guitar parts, which is a really good habit to have when you're writing background music, because like you want it to like feel really natural and stuff like that, which I think they succeed in. So for this section mostly, this is like the most the most how do you say it, like archetypically like Latin inspired part of the entire like arrangement mostly, because you can kind of hear the 1/5 kind of the samba like bossa inspired like rhythm in the bass. And then the guitar is doing this is just doing a single note comp, because I couldn't think of anything else to do, but I also didn't want to not have the electric guitar. And then the keys are just doing long chords with a bit of like ad lib, just to fill in space. The second half, I really like this cool kind of bossa inspired nylon part. And it really has like a bit of that syncopation to the rest of the bass line and the drum parts. So you put everything together without the strings. Let's leave the strings. The reverbs are still on. That's so funny. Yeah, I rendered out the reverbs as well. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it like to loop for a bit, so you can kind of hear like kind of where the groove lies, because like how I basically thought of it was like I got the 4 on the floor and the kick drum to kind of be like the primary like driving heartbeat of the song, but I have all the little syncopations from the different elements of the rhythm section to kind of give this like really dynamic interchange between like different rhythmic lines and whatever. It's really hard to explain, but it's like I hope that like the outcome feels like really lively, really dynamic. That there's a lot of different things that your ear can like focus on to like notice. But yeah, and then the next section with the rhythm section, is kind of what I call the the pre-chorus, I guess. So the rhythmic emphasis is much stronger. We have like the bop 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 bop, which is kind of further emphasized by the rhythm by the drums by the drum section, because the 4 on the floor disappears and makes way for the huge carnival percussions. And then but the hi-hats stay, so we get this like really cool like breakdown section before the chorus. And then with the drums, they're doing kind of like this like cool clap on every beat thing. I think it's a really energetic kind of it's like an energetic thing, like an energetic stylistic thing. And then in the second half we get the return of the kick drum and the congas, and we're back to having the backbeat on 2 and 4. Oh yeah, there's some chords here. There's some chords here. I forgot about the chords here. So the first part, just keys and bass, and then once the kick drum comes back and the main groove is established again, we get the nylon comes back, and then the electric guitar is actually now doing like this cool fake wah wah thing. It doesn't sound too great, but like it doesn't sound too great isolated, but like in a mix, I think the filter going open and close kind of like you can kind of hear it, so like you kind of get the get like the feeling of like something like wah wah, like funky wah wah kind of vibe. The weird thing is like I said, I rendered out the reverbs so you can actually hear all the processed reverbs, which I probably shouldn't have done. But it does mean that there's a lot of artifacting from like having the reverb from the track that's actually muted, so you don't actually have the main track. You can only hear the reverb from it, which is interesting. So the rhythm section here, we get the pre-chorus, then we have the breakdown, or breakdown in quotation marks. I don't know what you call it. It's like the part where it's like all chords. Now, because I don't have the original MIDI data on me right now, I cannot tell you what these chords are, because firstly I don't play piano. I am a garbage pianist. I am garbage at any instrument that isn't drum set or tin whistle. And none of those instruments really, none of the knowledge that goes into these instruments applies in this context. So basically what I did mindset wise, like process wise, is I took the rhythmic elements of the melody, just doing like this and because the main melody is like da, 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 da. So basically what it's doing, it's I'm having a chord change every time a new note in the phrase hits. And as the phrase does this cool thing going up, da 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 da, I have the bass line and the chords going down, da 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 da, which is this cool like how do you call it, like contrary motion thing. Really, I didn't think too much about it. I just thought it sounded cool. There's like the majority of like my chord choices when it comes to like sections like these is like I copy paste a chord and then I move it around in the FL Studio piano roll, and then like sometimes it sounds like jazz, and like sometimes it doesn't sound like jazz. And when it doesn't sound like jazz, it's like fake jazz, but like it's not really jazz at all. So yeah, put everything together, it actually sounds really cool. And we have this like single measure of brevity going into the next section. bop, bop, bop. Then I change keys for a bit for the sake of the chorus. So you can kind of hear the nylon guitar is doing the same thing that I was doing in the intro section. But then I transposed it to fit with the new key, and it's also following the harmonies. Bum, bum, bum. And of course it's also doing the individual shots from the bop, 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 and together with the with all the drums, it's ooh, someone followed. Thank you, Malakazam, for the follow. Thank you, Virus. You're awesome. So this section, let me loop it a bit because there's a lot here. I appreciate the comment. I have not planned the actual thought process, so I'm just kind of going through it. Yeah, I think the nylon guitar adds a lot of flavor. Got kind of that that more like Latin, the summery kind of element to it. Bum, bum, bum. I really like listening to one of the, my favorite things to do is to find stem files from songs and just listen to individual elements of the songs without other elements. So in this case, I think listening to the to just the rhythm section, the melody, and some of the drums kind of helps you understand what's going on. Because once we get to the string parts, the string writing is one of my favorite parts about this song, but we'll get there when we get there. So after repeating the same melody without any changes, except this one goes up, this one goes down, this one goes up, this one goes down. Then we have this mini bridge section. So this one is more long notes. It's kind of a callback to the previous section. To this part. This part. Which part? Yeah, this part. So we lose the kick drum. So kind of the idea is long notes. It's kind of going downward. It's kind of changing keys whenever it wants to, because basically what I'm doing is I'm taking two chords and then I'm kind of copy pasting those two chords and then shifting them down a half step or two half steps, and then copy pasting that new 4-chord vamp, copy pasting that and putting that down another few half steps. And it's this kind of cool digital fusion kind of chord movement. And then there's a dominant chord that goes back to the beginning. And all of this is basically to actually build up into the main bridge section. And the main bridge section is where the string parts get to really shine a bit. So this is what it sounds like with everything there. Yeah, and then once we get to the next part, there's no melody in the next part. Oh, these reverbs are gonna kill me. And then you can really feel the sidechain if I put those in. because like it's like this one thing with like a lot of modern music, modern house music, modern like techno, modern anything. It's all about like having really heavy sidechain. And I didn't want to like not have heavy sidechain because I think it makes the 4 on the floor feel a lot stronger. Maybe too strong. But yeah, without the sidechain, you can hear how everything kind of like mellows out. Which some people might prefer that. I think it's definitely a preference thing. I might have overdone it personally, but hindsight is 2020. And anyway, it sounds pretty good either way. But yeah, I'm doing the same like structural thing where it's like the first repetition is no kick drum. It's just the percussion parts. And then in the second repetition, it's the same chord progression, but with the kick drums, with all the drums in. So the guitars in this case are doing like this cool. Now on guitar is just doing arpeggios again. Aside from the ensemble section, bop 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 bum. And then I bring back the electric guitar just to do like some cool like funky strum patterns. When I recorded the parts, the timing was super off, so you can see a lot of cuts where I was trying to like get them to line up properly. So it goes from whatever key this is back to the original key. Because we're literally going right into the chord progression from the intro, I think. I actually don't know. I don't know this song. Never heard of it. It's completely new to me. I am doing a breakdown of a song I've never heard in my life. Okay. Anyway. Rhythm section here. We have a sick MIDI bass fill. It sounds less sick if you isolate it and realize it's like you can hear all the individual MIDI notes being like flying through the piano roll. But like bass guitar, it sounds good under the mix, which is what matters. So it's like, whatever. Oh, there's a guitar solo. This is the solo section. In terms of structure, this is what I call the solo section, because I unfortunately enjoyed jazz music. I like having solo sections. We'll get to the actual solo parts with the sequencing, whatever, later. But yeah, we basically have the same chord progression that I established in the first few minutes of the song, and basically having the solo guitar go over it. Since nothing really changed in the actual rhythm section, I can just kind of like gloss through this one. The main thing is like the strings are doing a thing here, and we'll get to that once we get to the strings. Blah blah blah. Sidechain is on. Let me turn the sidechain off. Let me turn the reverbs off. It's basically like a one-two, like it repeats twice. First part, guitar solo, then there's a string part. Then we have the outro. The outro is where we go back to the intro chord progression. And so you hear the keys. We go back to the kind of arpeggio figure that I established in the beginning, and the arpeggio figure kind of like is like the main figure that like emanates with the entire song. And then We have funky guitars, funky strumming guitars. Sounds kind of good. Shreddage. Let me tell you about Shreddage. Shreddage 3 is is insane, and I will like sing the praises of like Andrew Versa and like the people at like Impact Soundworks, because literally Shreddage 3 is the only guitar, like electric guitar sample library that I can like really trust to any degree whatsoever, because I've had my heart broken by so many guitar libraries. Even like, honestly, this is my one take. Scarby Funk Guitarist is the only other guitar library that I can trust with doing like funk, like adjacent like strumming patterns and whatnot. And that's literally a sample library dedicated to funky guitars. Scarby Funk Guitarist is only for the the strumming. It doesn't have a melodic like a melodic element to it, because it's only designed for good strumming. And so the cool thing about Shreddage is that like you can have really cool like decent sounding lead lines, but you can also have decent sounding strum patterns. And I think in this song I really wanted to make full use of like cool sequencing patterns on Shreddage 3. Also the bass line, not to like toot my own horn, but like, woo, I wrote that. No, I didn't actually go through that. I should update I should update my my list. So the bass guitar orange tree, flat wound, something flat wound bass. It is not Trillion. Another, exactly, it's another Greg dub. He does not miss ever. Orange Tree Greg does not ever miss, except he kind of missed with the electric guitar, the Dracus, because that one is kind of mid. It's a kind of a mid electric guitar. I don't really like it too much, but I'm not gonna judge people who like that one, because okay, Greg has like 50,000 or something electric guitar library, so it's like he can have one L. He can have one L. Greg can have one L, and that's okay, because he has like a myriad of dubs to make up for it. Basically, it's like Orange Tree. I will continue to say this. Orange Tree is like the most like if there's like any sample manufacturer that I think you should like support 100%, like no question, it's Orange Tree. But yeah, baseline. And then for the outro, the last few bars. This is kind of like the soft ending. This is where the strings kind of like fade out, and we have like this reprise of the main figure, an octave higher. And then there's like a slowdown, goes into this like ad lib into the last chord. The cool thing about Shreddage is that it's able to like do so much. So I have it go from the funk guitar straight to the like more like mellow strumming guitar, and it sounds great. I like to have the guitar ring out with the top two strings of the chord. And then I have automation to kind of fade it out because the natural reverb of the entire project kind of lasts way longer than how long it lasts in the song. And just needed to do that to kind of like ease that out a bit. So basically, that's the rhythm section with a bit of the drums. There's nothing else to say like in terms of just the drums because I already kind of went over the majority of what they're doing in terms of like arrangement. I can go into the specifics of like what drum samples are being used if you're interested. So I'm going to include effects too. So basically, we have like the orchestral chimes. If you want to know what it's from, arc chimes. Those are the east west Hollywood diamond percussion mark tree, and I basically resampled the MIDI one and just rendered it as a WAV file so that I could just drag and drop that onto like any project that needs the chimes. And I've been using them on like pretty much everything, whether it's like electronic or like JRPG music or whatever. And then I have a reverb kick. So the cool thing about the reverb kick is I do not have the actual initial transient. I just have the reverb because the idea is I'm taking the transient from the big hit here and using the reverb tail to just kind of like give a bit more depth to that big hit, because on its own that big hit really doesn't have much to it. Okay, there is a body to the big hit, but it kind of like fades out a bit too quickly, and the reverb kick kind of helps to like add a bit more like of the, so it kind of feels more spacious, I think. Basically, how I did it, I got the original kick sample that I used throughout the song. I stretch it out a bit. I put a bunch of reverb. I just doused it in reverb, and then just remove the initial transient, and then use that as the reverb kick. So the a majority of the drums that I use are from various Vengeance packs, particularly VEC2, VEH 1 to 3, etc. I live by Vengeance packs because firstly they're like really notorious for being the like mid 2010s, early 2010s like electronic dubstep producer sample packs, and I've like never moved on from that era of production. So I just be using Vengeance packs for life. I'm a Vengeance stan. Unfortunately, that's my one fatal flaw. I haven't been jumping on like whatever the new shit is. Like I'm not like familiar with like what all the kids are doing nowadays. Like if they're using like cymatics, I don't know if they're using cymatics, if they're using like fucking splice packs. Actually, I use a lot of splice packs. So I will say Splice is a really good resource if anyone wants to get into like getting a large library of like sounds for a fairly inexpensive like entry point. And then going into the big drums, the big perk. The big perk is a combination of what's it called? It's like this library called Apocalypse. I guess I don't have it on this computer. It's the Apocalypse Percussion Micro. It's from Sound Iron, Apocalypse Percussion Micro It is about $40. I'm gonna link it in the chat because I've been using these as my go-to, like my go-to, like if I want like semi-big cinematic sounds without really going hard on like damage or like action strikes, which I don't own. This one is good because it has like that big sound without being like too, like without being like $200 basically. And then I used a to kind of like beef it up a bit. I sliced up a Vengeance house fill loop and just took the kind of like the top like the top frequency information to kind of layer that with the big perk. And then so we kind of get that really like that very like kind of samba inspired like big ensemble sound here. And so the big thing about their actual rhythm is that like you kind of want to have like a very loose, not so tight kind of like syncopated a syncopated rhythm to kind of like add a lot of more like fluidity to the line, which it's like a percussion thing. And then kind of go into the ba ba. And basically what this is doing throughout the song is it's either emphasizing the ensemble hits or it's doing cool fills. And then this is a bonga conga loop from Vengeance. No, actually, the bonga congas are from where's the sorry, let me update the thing here. Plus Vengeance house fill, and then the congas are from Thomas Penton Essentials, Volume 2, which is basically like this this pack of like essential house electronic music, like loops and one-shot drum samples that you can use for like a lot of house and whatnot. And then we have this fill loop. What this fill loop is doing is adding a lot of like mid information to the main drum groove. A lot of center information. This filler loop is from Vengeance House. Then I have various Latin percussion loops to kind of add a bit more like movement, add a bit more flavor to the overall groove. So you put everything together, it's got this kind of very lively kind of big ensemble percussion ensemble kind of. It's like big ensemble percussion plus electronic house drums basically. And then very subtly we have a Vengeance House group claps to kind of add a bit more like liveliness, add a bit more ambiance, I think. Or ambience, I don't know how people say it. I'm not French. I shouldn't say it the way the French people do. Yeah, basically that runs down the main drums. As for the effects, basically I have this Vengeance one. I douse it in. I like to douse my downlifters with delay and reverb so that they can kind of like they start off as downlifters, but then the residue kind of like acts as like extra like atmosphere and ambience to the back of the mix, which kind of adds a bit more space to the overall thing. And then I have this special downlifter that I designed myself in school. This one's a good one. I might release this. It's basically I took the modular systems that I have at my college, and I basically recorded a bunch of like cool effects and stuff on them. And one of them was this like downlifter kind of sound. And then I layered it with a simple noise, and basically I turned this into my own personal like downlifter that I use in a lot of my music nowadays. And doused it in reverb to kind of like make it feel a bit more lively and stuff like that. And then risers, I have my Atelier risers. I have the downlifter that I reverse, so it becomes a riser. And then I have this Vengeance one, VFX one uplifter. It has this cool like little tail to it that kind of sounds really nice. Yeah, and that pretty much breaks down the effects and the drums and stuff like that. So actually going into the melody actually is a really cool thing. So we have this like this reoccurring motif is basically like da 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 da. I never realized how naked this this piano sound is. So basically we have the lead stack. We have lead stack. Hold on, let me change up the formatting here. Lead stack. Basically, this is just the same piano I use, the grandeur and either grandeur. But then there's a bunch of delay. So much delay. Holy shit, so much delay. And then this is a little concoction, synth concoction. So let me, piano is the grandeur, and the actual synth stack is how I labeled it. Synth stack. It is basically, it boils down to 3x OSC. The settings are like first oscillator is a sine wave. Second is a either a sine or a square. Actually, triangle, I think, was what I did. Triangle, plus 1 octave, mixed in, so that basically, it's in its fundamental, it's just the sine wave, but it has the added like added harmonic, harmonics from the triangle up an octave, so it sounds a lot more full. It has a bit more of that high-end kind of tone to it. And then I combine that with a glockenspiel from Contact Factory library. And then I douse the entire synth stack in OTT, so that everything like puts together. Actually, no, it's not even OTT. I just compressed it. I lied to you. I'm sorry. It's just heavily compressed, basically. So in the first part, piano lead doing the little motif, layer it together. And then yeah, doing that. All right. Then we have the rhythm section part. Okay, so here the synth stack is just doing. So basically, what the melody boils down to is, for this part, the melody is a two-part exchange between the string parts. So it's like one part is the strings going da 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 da, and then the little synth is doing a. It's basically it's the strings have the question, the synth stack has the answer, but then instead of just doing like strings as one thing, the synth stack does the other thing. I have it so that the strings continue playing. Because I like to have a lot of chunk. I like to make my melody lines chunky. So there's always going to be, there's never going to be like a part where like only one thing plays at a time and the other thing plays. I usually go about it like this instrument starts the melody, then this instrument on top adds on to the melody. And then they basically turn into like this like semi counterpoint thing. So you can kind of hear how the low strings are kind of almost harmonizing with the main melody here. So you can hear the ba 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 ba. So with the low strings are doing the ba 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 ba. And this is the kind of thoughtful in my opinion, this is the kind of like thoughtful melodic exchange that you can kind of have when you're working with like live instruments a lot, because a lot of live instruments have like specific tones and specific like registers that they tend to occupy. And so because I was already working with a full string section, I was able to like take advantage of the fact that like the low strings are not gonna overpower the main synth stack. And so you can kind of add little subtle harmony details underneath the main melody. And so, going into the this part, a lot of people have actually asked me what this particular like sound is. Basically, what I did is I basically added another layer to the main Glocken synth, is I guess what we'll call it, the Glocken synth. And it's basically this I used FM8. I used one of the presets that I've been using. I've used one of the presets that I've been using for a lot of my FM work, and I altered it to be a much more like fully produced like song. Hi Carol, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. The VOD will be up immediately after I finish this, but like I appreciate the support, and you don't worry about like not being able to catch the live stream. But yeah, basically, it's an octave lower, and what I like about it is that it adds a lot more depth to the main synth stack without overpowering the main element to it. And basically, it helps because once you go into the chorus, you kind of have more elements coming in. And so for the, like I said, for the FM layer, I used FM8. I used a preset that I always use. It's kind of based off of it's based off a Yosuke Yasui lead tone that I tried to recreate. Doesn't sound exactly like it. I can actually show you like the track that I made, like kind of like uses that synth on SoundCloud. Hold on. Let me pull it up. It's a cool little track. So that's the same lead sound here. But because it's like in the lower register, you can barely hear the similarities. But it's mixed so low in the actual synth stack because all I wanted to do is basically add a bit more depth to the main melody. But personally, in my opinion, it really works. Adds a bit more of like a unique kind of tone to the lead synth. And so the cool thing I like about this pre-chorus part is that it's the strings are doing this disco rhythm. Bump, 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 bump. And then it's doing a little call and response, responding to the synth melody. And then once the second repetition comes in, I reintroduce the motif from the intro. Yeah, I think the elements that are really carrying the song overall, I think honestly have to be the strings working together with the synth. It's got that really like disco kind of thing to it. I really like listening to a lot of disco, so I try to kind of like emanate that into like this like summer disco thing. I don't know if it's like probably not like archetypically, it's not like idiomatically disco, but like there's like some inspirational elements, like influence. You can clearly tell the influence with especially with this part, like the full like octave stack between all the strings. And then, like I said before, with when we were going down the rhythm section, the melody stays exactly the same, but the chords are the ones that are changing underneath the melody to kind of give this like cool, like tipsy turvy, like lopsided effect, going into this like sus chord here. And then we change keys and go to the chorus, which is the fun part. And the cool thing about the strings here is we're doing the cellos are even doubling. And before I forget, this is the strings. I am using Tokyo scoring strings by the GOAT, Impact Soundworks, the GOAT. Shoutouts to Andrew. I've been living by TSS since release. A lot of my friends are living by TSS. It's got that. It's like that kind of blend between like closest, like that close room kind of solid close room sound with a bit of that like hall reverb, but it's not like garbage hall reverb like you would find in like a Spitfire library. Full offense, I do not enjoy Spitfire. Even without like the whole controversy, I just do not enjoy Spitfire libraries. They're baked in reverb. They're like stupid to use. It's like I do not care for Spitfire. Even if I like lived in a vacuum where nothing wrong ever happens, Spitfire libraries are mid. But then like TSS was like, what if we made like a string library that was like actually good? Like actually good. Like a string library you can use for like anime music, which was like the entire fucking marketing scheme, right? It's literally the entire marketing. It was like, let's make a string library that sounds like anime music. And you listen to any anime composer, you listen to fucking Hiroki Sawano, you listen to Yuki Hayashi, you listen to Masaru Yokoyama, and like they got that kind of tight ensemble sound. It's like not as big, not as like huge as like the Western kind of Hollywood kind of string sounds, but it's got so much energy to it. Like, and like because I'm not working with like an orchestra, I'm working with like a disco kind of setting. I felt like TSS super good for the setting. And you can really hear it. You can really hear it with those staccatos. I love the staccatos. The TSS staccatos are so good. And then we go to the chorus. So we just have this like a very like J-pop kind of melody. Like this is like probably like I probably stole this from like some like Hatsune Miku song or whatever. But the idea was that like the idea again goes back to the whole synth starts the synth starts the phrase, and the strings kind of follow up on the phrase, and the synths repeat the phrase, and the synths kind of end off the phrase. So the strings are taking a more of a background element in the first part of the chorus. So, but instead of having like a melodic melodic kind of like follow up to the main synth melody, I kind of wanted to keep it more like energetic, have like those cool rising hits. And you can kind of hear how the strings go, like they kind of ascend, which is kind of a really cool way to like drive energy and bring it back to the beginning of the chorus, the repetition. So the second time around, it actually does not go up. It goes like bop, 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 like up, down, up, down. And then one thing I didn't mention is there's this really cool counter melody going on, or like not really counter melody. It's like kind of like the melodic ostinato thing. And this is like the pluck string is Contact Factory Library Pizzicato String Ensemble. And then it's a massive pluck patch that I made. And then I layered those together. And notice how this entire melodic phrase is kind of derivative of the intro. And so that's like a cool way to like subtly call back to the main motif. And so you kind of hear it without the main melody. It's also doing this like cool like rising figure. Because without this, like without the little synth figure, it actually does still sound okay, but there's like it kind of sounds a bit empty in my opinion if I don't have this. Or maybe I'm like biased because I'm so used to having listened to the little ostinato there, but like especially because this is like the highest point of energy in the arrangement. So I felt like having that there to kind of add a bit more energy to the mid part of the chorus. Really helps, in my opinion. So going into the kind of bridge section, outro section, I give the pluck strings a bit of like a mini like ad lib solo kind of thing. I just wrote out a little melody. Pop, pop, pop. So you kind of hear how it starts off as like just the pluck strings doing this this like little melody like in between every four bar every measure or so. But then once you get to the second part, you actually notice that it's actually kind of like a counter melody, or like not a counter melody, like a response to the string parts. So we have the ba ba da 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 da. So that's kind of a cool little music arrangement thing. Kind of, I don't know. Also, yeah, good point. So, TSS does not have disco falls. It does not. So I literally took the contact pitch bend, just automated a bit. So it sounds so fake when you isolate it, but then in the actual mix, kind of good. Yeah, basically the string parts. I put a lot of effort into the string parts, and that's why I'm like really harping. I don't know. Harping is the right word. I'm really harping on like the way the strings kind of contribute to like the whole, like the melodic, like basically the melodic soul, I guess, the soul of the song, because it's like. Oh yeah, this is my favorite part. Basically, the kind of lyrical kind of like swelling into the main melody. So the cool thing is like this part of the melody, the ba, 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 is emphasized by the synth stack. But then it's also emphasized by the string section. This would sound really good if I actually write it out and like had people play it, but you know what? TSS actually does it pretty well. Of course, it's like you can hear the octave. Also, this is a very funny artifact because in the original draft, this one note did not last long enough, so I copied it, and like you can hear how like like how shitty and choppy the note here is, but literally I just wanted to like have it extend out a bit further than what it actually was, and I didn't want to go back to the MIDI on my laptop and just like extend the note so I just did audio stuff with the stems. Like now that I pointed out, you probably can't unhear it, but it's a very funny and then this cool part. There's a very subtle like dynamic arc into the ba. That comes later. We're not going to the solo section yet. Actually, why not? Let me go into the solo section because I don't want to spend too much time. The solo section, I have the solo guitar. Once again, Orange Tree. Shoutouts to Greg. He can have all of my money. Orange Tree, Modern Nylon. What's up? Welcome to live stream. So the thing is, I actually sequenced the solo in the mix project file, so you can actually see all the stuff that's happening. So I listened to a lot of guitar solos from songs from anime songs because firstly I wanted to get the I wanted to reference like something with a similar vibe, but then I also wanted to like get something that actually had a live player on it. So I think I took Real from Guilty Crown, which is a Sawano song, but it has like this insane solo classical guitar section at the outro, and it's like one of my all-time favorite songs, probably my favorite song. No, it's like in the top 3, easy top 3. So I kind of like made note of all the little articulations, like the little like the tremolo into the notes. And then there's a lot of hammer-ons, a lot of like slides. So when you put it together with the rhythm section, I kind of like semi-reference the melody with the da 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 da. And the cool thing is like when you listen to like to guitar solos, you kind of have to listen to like all the notes they are playing, but also like the way they play it and also like the duration of each individual note. So I made sure with this one to have the first note kind of be like a semi-slide. So it's kind of a legato here. It starts off legato, but then it slowly gets more or less like not legato, and it kind of adds to the flow of the line a bit. And then at the end, it's basically doubling the main melody here. This fun fact: the violin originally had a part. The violin originally had a part over this part of the solo, but I decided not to put it in, not to keep it in because it overpowered the mix too much. So I basically dragged it out a bit. So you can only hear the second violins, violas, and yeah, just the second violins and violas. And then the violin ones fade in. Then the strings are doing the little disco thing again. Then guitar solo again. Kind of, it's like instead of a guitar solo, it's kind of like ad-libbing underneath the strings. Orange Tree does not have a built-in like tremolo, so I actually had to MIDI this out myself. So it starts off faster, then gradually gets like subtly slower in its like tremolo thing. And then of course the all important legato elements. You have to really put in a lot of detail. I like ran through like 5 different drafts of this like solo. I don't even know if there's like any, if I still have any of them here. I guess not. And then once we get to the outro, we just basically repeat the main motif again. But then the violins, the strings do this like really, really nice like ending, this like high note thing. And like you can hear kind of like the one thing I like about TSS is you can hear like the little slide. Ooh. Yeah. TSS Gliss goes. And then a cool thing is I took the main motif because it's so short. I decided to have the solo guitar do more ad-libbing in between. Ooh, this lick is kind of cool. The da 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 da. Then we get to the outro. Yeah, I don't know what else I can really go into. The string section in particular is violins 1, 2, and violas are just doing like violins 1 and 2 are just doing the same note, but violas and cellos are doing the are following the harmony. How do I process and mix TSS? Good question. Did I do it in this one? I don't know if I did. Oh, yes, I did. Okay, unironically, what I did, let me, you might have already seen it. OTT, baby. Boys! OTT. Very subtle OTT. It's at like 45%. Okay, I said subtle, but you immediately heard the difference, right? Oh my god. Okay, so James Landino was in my notifications one time, and I was like, I made a tweet. It's like, how do these anime composers like mix their strings into the EDM parts? And then he like said something about like OTT or something, or like some kind of like multi-band compression, and I've like never like stopped thinking about that since. But the thing about OTT is like it basically crunches down all of those elements, right? But as a result, you can kind of hear like how tight and like crispy like the string parts are. You can really hear the high end of the thing. And especially when we're working with the staccato parts, you really want that. Because if I remove OTT, it's so weak. It's so weak. Doesn't fit. Oh, it's so weak. But then, boom. Sheesh. All right. But yes, OTT, EQ looks like this. I emphasize the... I added a bit more reverb on top of the existing reverb because I felt like some of the trails were a bit too naked. I wanted to ease those out a bit. And then there's some I have a separate EQ just for like mid-side stuff. So I turned down a bit of the mids, a bit of the center information. And then the fruity limiter is for the sidechain. So the main thing about the mid-side processing is like basically what I do is I listen to everything in like a mono mix down. And then I adjust what I want to hear less of in the mono mix down by basically taking the just the mids from the fab filter. Basically, I just make a new thing and then I select mid in stereo placement. And so when I remove this channel, when I mute this channel, you can kind of hear how muddy the strings are because they're doing like long pads underneath everything else. But by turning those down in the mids exclusively, you kind of you're able to carve out a bit more space for the rest of the mix while having the strings like still have a lot of presence because they'll still be there in the sides. So then once you expand it outward back to the stereo mix, it sounds so much better. But yeah, that breaks down the string section. Most of them are very slightly panned or not panned at all, except the cello. But yeah, I think that should be most of the individual elements. I forgot to mention one thing about the drums. There is a fill. It is really subtle. And it's just that. And it's a Vengeance House fill. I really like the way the guitar parts came out, actually. Okay. That's I think that's pretty much all of the stuff that I wanted to go over. I'm going to like I don't know what I'm going to do with this list. I might like tweet it out or something. I'll keep it. I'll keep it for now. And custom downlifter, reverse downlifter to make tellurizer. Okay. If anyone has like any questions on any one of these elements or like any this like I'm gonna open up to like very like dumb thoughtless Q&A, unplanned, whatever. And I can kind of see if I can answer anything. There is I forgot to mention there's a slight EQ on the highs in the final mix down, or in the master, I guess. Actually, I'm gonna just give you the bass line. Because I am so proud of this bass line. Do I ever use mid-side processing to remove stereo from things instead of middle stuff? I probably should, but I don't. I only use it to shave off mid information. But I'm assuming you should be able to do the same thing about side information, but the thing is, FL can really only merge mids. Can really only show you a merged mono sum. It doesn't really do the same thing with just sides. From my experience, it's not as like intuitive to just hear the sides, because there really, if with just this part, there still is center information coming through, because you can still hear the bass line. For example, the bass line should be pretty much, if this was a proper sides only mix down, it would not have any of the bass line present. You can do a decent mono sum, but you cannot do a decent side sum. And that's why I don't do the same technique to clear out stuff from the sides. What's the processing of the nylon electric? Nylon is just compression. I have a fast attack, somewhat whatever release. Threshold is pretty high, actually, or rather pretty low, so that it really feels very tight, very chunky. Then I have this monstrosity. Basically, I emphasize the little harmonics here, the twinkly harmonics, a bit of the highs. I bring down a lot of the muddy mids, the muddy 200 to 300 range. And then I have a bus EQ here, or a channel EQ, just to emphasize some other stuff. I'm not good at describing my mix, but that is, I think, most of it. The electric guitar is it's a weird thing, because a lot of it is already built into the amp settings that I established in my original project file, so I don't remember everything that's on there, but I basically just have EQ to kind of do a little carve out a bit of space on the original stems. I wish I had the original project file on this computer, so I could show you the actual amp settings and then the processing on those amp settings, but I do not, unfortunately, have those on me. I apologize for that. It is guitar rig. No, actually, fun fact, it is not guitar rig. I forgot, it's not guitar rig for the main thing. It's guitar rig exclusively for the wah-wah pedal. But the actual... So the thing about Impact... about Stratus is that it has snapshots that have really good sounding default strums and stuff like that. So I think, if I recall correctly, I used the Funk Clean. And I basically just used the default Funk Clean preset. And then I panned it. I did a bit of extra processing. I guess compression. I pretty much have compression and EQ on every single channel. And yeah, that's what the guitars are doing for the most part. I wish I had the original project files. I don't. I would be able to go into much broader detail if I did. Yeah. Ooh, if there's anything else, feel free to let me know. Yeah, I really don't have anything else to add to the general breakdown, because I went through pretty much all of it. maybe it was like a bit it was a bit unfocused because like when I was doing the melody, I jumped between the strings and the main synth stack. But yeah. Okay, this part actually does slap. I don't. I wish I knew what I was doing. Sometimes I really wish I knew what I was doing, but I don't. Again, this bass line, I put some effort into these fills. Oh yeah, there's a subtle slide there. Didn't even notice it. This is so janky. I basically wanted to have a bass slide, but I didn't have that in the original thing, so I just like opened it again. But I took the Trillion bass slides because they sounded better. Even though they're not the same library. But like no one notices, you know? So that's okay. Yeah. If there's nothing else, I can probably end it off here so I can eat and do things like play Xenoblade Chronicles 3 instead of doing my homework. Yeah, thank you so much everyone for joining me as I show you what I've been cooking. So this is what I've been cooking. This is what's been going on in the stew. Once again, if you type in !release, you can get the links to the song. You can share it to all your friends and their friends' parents, especially their moms. Share it with their moms, and yeah, that is really all I have. Thank you so much, and good night. Good night, bros. Good night, everyone. And play Xenoblade Chronicles 3.